Well, you ask your worship pastor to describe your church to a new family, and they stumble through the generic phrases like, I don't know, we love Jesus, or hey, we're family friendly. That's my worship pastor impression, by the way. And I can do that because I was a worship pastor. You realize that they sound exactly what they say. Their response to the question is, your church sounds exactly like the church right down the street, or maybe another church that's across town. Let's say your children's pastor can't explain why your church approach is different. Maybe your admin can't tell you what makes your church special. They all work here every day, but they can't capture, it seems, in just one short sentence what you're actually about. And if that sounds familiar, we're talking about that right here today on the podcast. Hi there, my name's Todd Rhoades, one of the co-founders over at chemistrystaffing.com, and your host right here on the Healthy Church Staff podcast every weekday. Your staff are making literally dozens of decisions every week. You know that. Which events to prioritize, how to spend their budgets, what programs to start, what programs to cut. But they might be guessing at what matters most because they don't actually know what matters most. They don't actually know the big things are that your church stands for. They may know what you're against, maybe, but maybe they struggle with really knowing who your church is, and they can't seem to articulate what you're uniquely for these days. And here's what happens next. There can creep in this drift. Every staff member starts creating their own version of your church's mission. The youth pastor thinks it's about reaching the next generation. The worship pastor thinks it's that your church is all about excellent music and worship experience. The executive pastor thinks you're all about efficient systems. And here's the thing. Nobody's wrong, but nobody's aligned either. Meetings turn into philosophical debates instead of tactical planning. Staff members feel disconnected from something bigger, and they start questioning if they're actually even in the right place. Is this the church where they want to serve? Now, your church aren't trying to be difficult. They're being human, and they need to know what they're building together. I was reading some research that was published recently on organizational identity, and here's what really stood out to me. We talked about this yesterday, but it was important enough that I wanted to double down on this today. Your staff needs to know your thread, not just your mission statement that sounds like everybody else's. That sounds like the church across the street or the church that we love Jesus, just like the church across town. Your actual thread, the thing that connects every decision that you make at your church, it's the reason that you exist that nobody else can claim. And every person on your team should be able to explain that in one sentence. So think about it this way. If your staff can't explain your identity, how can they make good decisions? How can they recruit volunteers who really fit? How can they feel confident about their daily work? They end up either being paralyzed by uncertainty or maybe even making it up as they go. And both options exhaust your team. Here's your bottom line for today. A team that can't explain what they're building together will eventually stop building together. Okay? Let me repeat that. That's the bottom line for today. You might want to take out a pencil and paper and write this down. I'll try and go a little slower. Here's your bottom line for today. A team that can't explain what they're building together will eventually stop building together. So this week, I want to challenge you to ask, if you've got three staff members on your team, three high volunteers, ask them this question. Hey, if you had 30 seconds, just 30 seconds to explain what makes our church different, what would you say? Don't coach them. Don't give them any hints. Just listen to their answers. And if they all say something different, you probably got some work to do here. Your team wants to be a part of something they can believe in and explain. So give them that gift. That's it for today. I hope today and yesterday, if you didn't listen to yesterday, go ahead and go back and listen to it. I think you'll find it helpful. I hope those have been helpful for you. If there's any way that I can help you or your church, I'd love to hear your story. Reach out to me, podcast@chemistrystaffing.com. I read each and every email and respond to all of my emails. So I would love to hear from you, podcast@chemistrystaffing.com. All right, that's it for today. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll be right back here on Monday for the Healthy Church Staff. Have a great day.